Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. It's Tuesday, May 26, 2020, and we're going to have a nice session for half an hour, 5 p.m. Pacific to 5:30 Pacific, discussing immigration law, U.S. immigration law in particular. Taking your questions live on TikTok. Immigration lawyer John is the username, and if you're on Facebook as well, JQK Law Firm. If you go to the link tree above in TikTok, there'll be links to other social media apps, in particular YouTube, and there you can catch the video of this along with other tips and information that pop out. Right off the bat, we had a question that talks about health insurance. Ahmed, this is an immigration lawyer channel. I don't discuss health insurance here, so I wouldn't be able to help you with that. All right, so what I'd like to do is just talk about an issue that came up from a call I had today to help people while the questions are adding up and everything. But as a reminder, this is just general education only. It's not meant to be case-specific information. If you have an issue regarding your case or want to plan or strategize something, you have to schedule a private consultation with a lawyer to talk with them at that time. That's the way you go about it. If you'd like to schedule a consultation with my office, you should email me, info@jqklaw.com, and we can schedule a consultation. Please note there is a fee for that. Now, Ahmed follows up, health insurance law that I need to have forgotten. So Ahmed, if there's something very specific about health insurance in your case, we could talk about that, but that's something for a private consultation, so I wouldn't be able to answer your health insurance questions here. As a follow-up, consult with an immigration attorney. And let's get started. One important thing that comes up a lot, and it's what I found the most complicated part that people have to deal with when they're doing their own immigration case without a lawyer, and that's the Affidavit of Support Form I-864. When you want to bring an immigrant visa holder, a foreign person, to get a green card in the United States as a family member, and some exceptions from other categories as well, the person petitioning, the sponsor, the initial person asking for their relative to have a green card, has to complete a Form I-864 that says they make enough money or they have enough money to be able to support the foreign person to come here. If they don't make enough themselves, sometimes a joint sponsor is possible. They've gotten more strict on that. I'm not going to go too much detail about that. But the question comes up, how much do you need to make to be able to support like a foreign spouse that comes here? So first of all, you have to see the family size that exists. So if you're just a single person and you got married to your spouse, the family size is 2, there's a chart called Form I-864P, and you go online, you find that, and it says how much you need to make. It's something around $21,000. It gets updated every year. You can check it out there. However, if you have a kid, for example, that could go higher. If you support other people or have dependents on your tax return, it could go higher. If you already sponsor people who've gotten green cards and who haven't got citizenship, it could go higher, the family size that is, so the household size becomes very important. And before I can advise somebody on how big the household size is or how much money they need to make, I need to know how big the household size is and what state they're located in, because the standards are different for Hawaii and Alaska. Also, if you're in the military, the standards are different there as well. So there's a lot of little pieces of information I need to know to be able to properly guide someone on this kind of stuff. So then how do you show income? Well, first of all, they want your tax returns. It's best to get the tax transcripts the last 3 years. Primarily it's the last 1 year, but they ask for 3 years worth of income to state it on a section of the form. Now, which part of the form do you complete? On Form 864, it says on your tax return, you look for the total income line. Unless you're filing a 1040 easy, which then you put the adjusted gross income. So this is all on the form. If you read it and you look at your tax returns, it'll make much more sense. The U.S. tax returns have gotten a little more complicated, so it's hard to find exactly where it is. But that's the total amount you want there, and you want to show that you make above that amount. If you don't make some based on your previous tax return, but you are currently making it, I haven't had problems with showing a letter from the employer that specifies who they are, what they do, how much they make, what their long-term is with the company, on their company letterhead signed by their manager with their contact info, all that kind of stuff. And then include pay stubs for several months, hopefully 6 months worth of pay stubs, to show that they're regularly making this kind of money, even though their previous tax returns didn't show that amount. I've never had a problem doing that. Some colleagues have said they've had problems doing that. I've never had an issue myself, so it's on a case-by-case basis. But that way you show you're making income, even though you previously weren't. Now, if you want to show assets, that gets much more complicated, and I wouldn't recommend someone try to sponsor somebody based on having assets. And what does asset mean? It means having a lot of money in the bank or having a lot of property. They made it so complicated and the paperwork so hard, and a lot of embassies in particular won't even accept it, that I'm very hesitant, first of all, to use it if someone's going to be sponsoring someone through the embassy, because I've seen some bad stuff happen. And if in the United States, they have to very well document it. For example, if you own property, you have to get an appraisal report. You have to pay money to get the property appraised, to see what the value is, show how much equity you have in it, and then submit that there. And you have to make a certain ratio, a multiple of how much you would have had to make if you're working and making money, as opposed to having that asset. And I'm going to go too much detail on that here because it gets complicated, but it just goes to show that you really need to study this stuff hard, and if need be, hire an immigration attorney if your finances start getting too complicated. It's not a straightforward thing where you're working for someone, getting a W-2 on your tax return, getting a regular pay stub, $50,000 a year. That's pretty standard, but if it gets any different than that, then you definitely should consult with a lawyer, because I've seen this is the area, again, I get the most amount of issues where people doing their case themselves come and ask questions, or they can't figure it out, or they get an RFE, or even worse, a denial. Now, what's important is if you are adding a joint sponsor, the initial sponsor still has to submit an I-864. They take that requirement away from them. That's still required they do it as well. Even if you don't make enough money. So there's a lot. There's like 50 little things you got to be mindful of and watch for in these kind of cases. But I wanted to give you a heads up because these were a couple of questions that popped up today when people were calling me, and so I wanted to share that with you. Having said that, let's see what kind of questions are popping up. We got a good group here on TikTok. Let me zoom back out. Okay, we got the health insurance questions. We got a lot of people joining. Thank you. Hi, Sayed. Okay, so we got a lot of people joining. Let me know if you have any immigration questions. Okay, so Anani something asks, is DS 5540 necessary for filing for a spousal visa? So according to the more detailed public charge rule that President Trump's administration put forth that started on February 24th, if you're adjusting status, filing for a green card within the United States, there's a new and additional form you have to complete called Form I-944. If the foreign person is going through the embassy system, for example, a marriage case, then they go and complete Form DS 5540. On February 24th, the embassy system, the Department of State, said that Form DS 540 is required, the public charge form. However, in the coming weeks after it was sent, my colleagues, I didn't have any cases go to the embassy at that time, but my colleagues said they didn't even ask for it. However, soon after that, the coronavirus shut down all the embassy systems, so we don't really know what's happening now. The regulations as they put forth in the Foreign Affairs Manual, the guidebook for the embassy, say you have to have Form DS 5540, so I would definitely complete it. Maybe hold on to it and bring it to the embassy with you, and if the officer asks for it, have that ready to turn in or have it ready to be uploaded to the SEAC system where you upload documents. That's the best solution. It's supposed to be there. Not everyone was enforcing it before the coronavirus hit, but we'll see what happens now. But be prepared for that Form DS 5540 for the public charge rule. All right, so we got a couple questions that popped up. Let me see if I don't want to miss any. Maribo asks, what's going on with DACA? What's happening? So Deferred Action for Child Arrivals is the program that the administration wants to get rid of. The Supreme Court is supposed to make a decision any day now. As of this, I haven't read any headlines or news, but the Supreme Court is supposed to be giving out new guidance, and then we'll know what to do. Right now, I don't have any information, unless maybe in the last half an hour something came out, but there's nothing there. Sayed asks, is it true that immigration issues the green cards? You got to be more specific in your question. Is it true immigration issue the green cards? It doesn't make sense. Immigration is a verb. It says to moving of people. So if you mean USCIS, yes, USCIS issues green cards. User 32 asks, are immigration rules same in USA islands? Well, it depends on which island. So this is kind of complicated, but the U.S., if we go back history, when we defeated Spain in the war like 120 years ago, we got a lot of the different islands. So if you're like born in Puerto Rico, for example, you're an American national, not a citizen unless you apply for citizenship. Different rules apply there. Hawaii, you're a full citizen, part of the state. There's Northern Mariana Islands that have their own rules. There's Guam that have their own rules. So it depends on which island and what you're going through. The U.S. Virgin Islands are there, so it's kind of complicated. So it depends on, when you say immigration rules, it depends on really which island you're talking about and what's going on specifically there. I don't have any specific, the question is too broad, and it's not something I specialize in. There's not too many people from the islands calling me. If you want to have a consultation and want to do the research, feel free to contact my office, but that's as much I can share right here. All right, so Mario asked, my husband is a citizen and I'm on DACA. So if you're married to a citizen, you can potentially start the process for a green card. Actually filing one of those tomorrow, where a young woman came to the U.S. with the tourist visa with a family and stayed here. Eventually she got DACA, and now she's married to her U.S. citizen husband. She's going to get a green card. Very unlikely that she would not get it. But the thing is, she entered with the visa. She had lawful entry. If you entered without a visa and you overstayed, you can't as easily apply for a green card. You have to request what's called unless you got to think on advanced parole in the meantime. I'm not going to get into it here. But most likely you'll have to request a waiver and have to go to your home country, go to the embassy there for an interview. It's tricky, it's complicated, time-consuming, expensive, unfortunately. But that's the kind of scenario you got to talk with an immigration lawyer in private to see what's going on. Hopefully some sort of solution comes up between the Republicans and Democrats to fix up the DACA situation and help those people out. But we'll see. This is all political and stuff, so I don't really know what's going to happen. Andre, thank you for following. If you haven't already on TikTok, just go to the follow page, subscribe and follow this page. You get these live announcements every once in a while when I post a video. YouTube, Instagram is really good because we're going to get a lot of questions. People asking me, how long does this take? Well, if you go to my Instagram page, I have examples of my approval notices that show how long certain cases took. Now, results vary, especially with the coronavirus. Everything is up and down, so we'll see what happens. But you get some examples that might be helpful. Okay, Rod asks, what's next after I-130 approved? I think you asked this yet other day too. I did a whole video on this yesterday. That's going to be posted on YouTube probably next 24 hours. So it's a breakdown of what's next after our I-130 is filed. So I talked about the embassy system, right? Tomorrow I'll talk about the adjustment of status, but I would go watch that video. You know, go to my YouTube page, subscribe, and you'll get notification if you ring the doorbell for you to be able to watch what was talked about there and answer your question. Sayed asks, is it true that USCIS issues the green card without interview? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It really depends on the case that we're handling. And if they want it. So it varies depending on the case type. A lot of employment-based cases do, some don't. So we have my young son who decided to come live. Thank you. Where are you going? You want to come to the video? This is little Cushy, everybody. Hey, you have the bright lights? All right. Mwah, good boy. Now go. Don't knock over the camera. This is what happens in quarantine when you're shooting at home. Yeah. All right, boy. All right, let's see. What was the next question? Mario asks, what does he need to do the petition for me? So this was the person that asked about deferred action. What does he need to do? Well, 100%. If you're asking these kind of questions, because over the internet, there's tons of videos and blogs and about this, contact the immigration attorney, schedule a consultation with my firm if you like. There are fees with my firm. We'll talk about it because each case is different and I need to know more about your personal life circumstances to advise you. The first step is really talk with a lawyer to guide you. Maybe talk to 2 or 3 lawyers, it's better. I have a case right now where a guy, I'm the 5th lawyer he talked to, and the 4 lawyers before me gave the opposite, like the worst, like if you can imagine the worst thing you could do for a case, the 4 of them told him to do that, and then he came to me, and I can't believe these lawyers didn't know what they're talking about, gave this person the worst advice. So if he just stuck with what those 4 said, he would be stuck outside the U.S. forever. And then it would have cost him $5,000 if 2 lawyers would have charged him, he would have stuck outside. And he came to me, I'm like, oh, it's garbage what these people are saying. They don't know what they're talking about. So talk with a lot of people because everyone's got different opinions on this stuff, but you should consult with an immigration attorney. Are you getting married? I don't know what you mean. Raul, you're welcome. User32 asks, if my brother applies per sibling, can I come on a B1, B2? So this is a question that comes up a lot. There's no exact advice. So what happens is if you have a family member that starts the green card process for you, in this case it's a brother filing for their brother overseas, the case is going to take 15-20 years. In the meantime, can the foreign person apply for a tourist visa, come to the United States? Well, it's up to 2 people. When you go to the embassy and apply for your visa, the embassy officer, you have to tell them and include in your application that you have a green card case pending. And it's up to them whether they'll give you a visa to come to the U.S. And then secondly, once you enter the United States at the airport, it's up to the port officer whether they want to let you in. So it is possible, and people do it all the time when they have a green card case pending, coming and visiting the United States. But whether you're not going to have problems or not, it's up to 2 people. I don't know in the future what they do. So there's risks involved. And that's the problem with U.S. immigration. There's no guarantees. There's no security. But, you know, if you like, file for a visa, go to the embassy interview. If it's approved, most likely you'll be okay. But it's really important to show that you're going to go back home. You're just coming temporarily to U.S. for some specific reason, but you have a home, family, money, work, everything that's going to pull you back to your home country. So the U.S. immigration authorities, either at the embassy or at the port of entry, you know, usually the airport, they're not going to be worried that you're just using this tourist visa as an excuse to come and stay here and not go back. And by having a green card case pending, you're showing you have family members here that want to support you, so it scares them a little bit. They're worried that you're going to come here and stay. So that's the long answer to that. Maybe, maybe not. Unfortunately, a lot of legal questions, the answers are like that. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Yes, US. Okay, so Arslan asks, I want to know, can I apply for citizenship now? Well, they are accepting citizenship applications, so that's the answer to that. Now, whether you can file for citizenship, I don't know anything about your particulars or your case. I need to have a private consultation. But in general, they are accepting citizenship applications. I file 1 or 2 a month, so it's just going through the system. Now, when you're going to get an interview and all that, we don't know, but they will accept the case. Azim asks, do you have an office in Kentucky? I don't. I'm in the West Coast, but I handle cases from across the country and the world. I have clients. I was talking to somebody in Connecticut the other day, consultation. So my location doesn't matter because the types of cases I handle don't require me to physically be where you are. So what I would recommend is email my office, briefly describe the immigration issue that you have, so that way I can see if it's a case that requires me to be there in person. For example, if you have immigration court, there's a hearing, I can't go to the hearing. But if it's something where you're on a student visa, you fall in love with a classmate, you want to file for a green card, you could just email me the documents. I mail them to the government. We talk over the phone, go over emails. That's all we need. Eventually, you'll have an interview, but if the case is clean, I don't need to come to the interview, or I could find a good colleague in your location that can help you just to go to the interview portion if you need it. Not every case requires an attorney to come with them to the interview, so it's really case specific. And that's why I say, email my office, briefly break down what the issue is. I'll see if it's something I may be able to handle. Then we have a paid consultation, and we review it and then take it from there. Garis asks, if you're married to a U.S. soldier and have DACA and paroled, when then become, okay, so they're asking, this person that's on DACA, they married a U.S. citizen that's a soldier, and they're on DACA and they've been paroled in. Yeah, there's a good chance you can get a green card. I just need to see what your exact paperwork and your history, income, stuff like that. But that's a good situation. I would say email my office, remind me of what your fact pattern is. We'll do a video consultation with you and your spouse. But that's a good situation if you have all that paperwork together for you to be able to get a green card. I'd recommend starting sooner rather than later, because if DACA goes away, they may put you in the deportation system. You want to get the green card process started sooner. So definitely consult an immigration attorney. If you'd like to contact my office, the email is info@jqqlaw.com, and we can set up a video call, so we can all talk and go over everything. User 535 asks, hey bro, my wife's case from NBC approved. When U.S. Embassy will be okay, so they're asking when is the U.S. Embassy going to open? Nobody has information on that except for the Department of State, and they haven't made a decision on when the embassies will be open. Whenever the fear of coronavirus in that particular embassy is going to go away, then they'll reopen it. What I suggest is to go to the State Department's website, check on the actual embassy's website, see what they're saying. So if your wife is in France, go to the U.S. Embassy in France website, see what they say. If they're in China, go to the U.S. Embassy in China, check out what they're saying. I'm not the place to go to for this kind of stuff. Each embassy is different. They do their own things, and they'll update you on the news. That's the better thing to do than ask me, because I have no control over when these will open up. And thanks for following TikTok Shadi. Mrs. Lagos asks, what will happen to TPS recipients after 2021? So TPS is a program called Temporary Protected Status. This is for people that were in the United States and something bad happened in their home country, and the U.S. said, you could temporarily stay here until the situation gets better in your country. You're asking what will happen after 2021? Well, it depends. Each country's TPS declaration is different. And so it depends on which country you're from. There's no general end to TPS. Each country has a different situation, and it just depends on what's going on with your particular country. Some of these TPS countries are fighting in court, or the people that have it are fighting in court to keep it. So there's a lot of different things that could happen depending on what country you're from and what your personal circumstances are. There's no general answer to what will happen to TPS. TPS will go on as long as they renew it, and it really depends on which country you're from. Let's see. Anya, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Andrea, Texas, USA asks, hey John, lived here for 7 years and got deported. 12 years later, I'm here again with a visa. Well, that's kind of confusing. If you've been deported, it's hard to get a visa. Hopefully you didn't give bad information on your visa application about your deportation history. You gave the proper name, the proper alien number, because most likely they would not issue the visa. Now, if you had a visa issued, probably there were some mistakes or errors or misrepresentation that occurred. But if not, then you got to talk with the immigration lawyer in private to see the court record of what the deportation was, if you got voluntary withdrawal or not. There's a lot of different things that we have to analyze first to see what's going on in your kind of case. It's a complex case. It's not an easy one, so we have to check it out. Okay, Juanis Watts asks, my work permit will expire in August. Should I apply for a new one now or wait till it expires? Well, it depends on what kind of work permit you got, what the basis of it was. So I needed more information to answer that. So schedule consultation in my office. That's 2 case specific. And Andrea, Texas, again, your case is very specific. And so when you ask what my chances to get legal, I need 50 pieces of information first before I could even begin to answer that question. That's why consultation is needed. It's just way too broad and way deficient, missing information for me to be able to answer that. So definitely consult a lawyer in private. Okay, user 53, I answered that question already. Oh, we got a lively group today. Guardius asks, is there a fee for consultation? If so, how much? Yes, please email my office, describe what it is. The fee varies depending on how much time I think will be needed during the consultation and how much research is needed. I don't want to overcharge people and charge them, the highest amount for something that's required. I don't want to charge an hour consultation fee for something that's half an hour. I don't want to charge a half an hour fee for something that's going to be an hour. I want it to be beneficial for both of us. So email my office, break down what the basics of your case are. That'll give me an idea what's going on and whether I first of all handle that kind of case, and second of all, if a 30-minute, 1 hour, or something different kind of consultation is needed. Some cases are so complicated, I just got to say, well, it's an hourly system. It might take several hours to figure it out. That's rare, but I really just want to have exactly what you need. I don't want to overcharge or undercharge. Just want to do a proper relationship financially. So email my office and we'll take it from there. Tagri asks, I applied for a labor certificate. Is it a long process for a healthcare worker? It depends. It depends on what country you're from. So a lot of facts in your case. You have an immigration lawyer. You didn't apply for a labor certificate. Your employer did. Your employer has an attorney that filed the case. Try contacting them, asking them what their estimates of the timeline are. There's a lot of different things that have to be analyzed to give an answer to that. I don't have enough information here, and it's too case specific. So contact the lawyer for your employer. They should be able to give you some sort of estimate as to how long it'll take. Okay, Santa asks, I-130 approval taking a long time. It just varies. There's no fixed answer to that. You could go to uscis.gov, type in the I-140, the type of case you have in the service center that's handling it. It'll give you a general estimate, but every case is different. So, and long is relative. Some people think 3 months is a long time. Some people think 3 months is a short time. So there's no way to answer that. The question is kind of too vague. One is asked, I'm an asylum seeker, but not yet granted asylum. It has been 2 years now. Well, it takes a while sometimes to get your asylum interview. Make sure to keep your address updated with USCIS in the asylum office in case they do send you an interview notice. You don't want to miss that. Right now, the asylum offices are closed because of the COVID-19 coronavirus, so things are getting more and more delayed, even more than they were. Jesse Powell asks, my final court date for asylum interview changed 2 times because of weather. My date is 22nd. It's going to hurt. Sorry, it's going to hurt, yeah. But, have a lawyer to help you hopefully get through that. Romana, I'm a green card holder. I want to marry someone in Bangladesh. How do I do that and apply for him? Well, that's a long discussion. You got to initially file for I-130. Eventually, they do consular processing. I need to go into your finances and your spouse's education, your fiance. So we got to just analyze the case. Email my office, info@jqqlaw.com. We could do a video consultation where the 3 of us could talk to each other. There's a fee, but just email my office and I could break down the initial fee right there. Once I have more information, I could break down the process and cost from there. But that first step is go talk with a lawyer or maybe a couple of lawyers to get some basic starting advice. Okay, so we have some questions coming up still, but I'll answer that question a little more specifically. First you file the I-130 petition to prove your relationship is real. Because you are a green card holder, you cannot do a fiance visa. You have to get married. So right now, you got to fly and meet each other somewhere and get married. Once you are married, then you file the I-130 petition to show your relationship is real. We need to document your relationship to make sure, all this stuff. So we need to sit and talk to see how we can show that this relationship is real. It's not a fake relationship. Eventually, once the I-130 is approved, you begin doing consular processing, working with the embassy system to gather financial information, civil documents, all these kind of stuff, police records, to show your spouse is okay to come to the United States, it's not a threat. And eventually they go to an interview, and if the interview is approved, they come to the United States and get a green card. There's a lot more hurdles and things that pop up in the middle of the way, but that's the basic overview of the process if you're marrying someone overseas coming here. It's a typical case to handle. The majority of my cases are just like that. Kelly asked, do you think courts will open on the 12th? It doesn't matter what I think. Just go to the EOIR website, the court's website, see what they say there. I'm not in the business of guessing about what day something's going to open or close. Just review what they tell you, and if there's no information, there's no information. That's that. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the program for today. Thank you all for joining. If you have a last couple of questions, let me know. We had some great questions today. What I love is people didn't ask how long things take. That's the question I get asked 50 times usually during this, and it's frustrating. I'm so thankful for y'all for not asking that same question over and over again. It's just impossible to ask how long things take. There's so many different factors. I have one marriage green card case right now. It's been pending a year and a half. It should have been approved a year ago. Everyone else does, so that one is off now, and they're frustrated, and I'm frustrated too. I want to be done. I want this guy to have his green card, but things happen, or the embassy system shuts down, so things aren't moving forward. The National Visa Center loses a file, so all of a sudden the case gets delayed 6 months. It's all over the place how long things take, and those are marriage kind of cases I'm talking about. If you want to do other types of cases, it depends on what country the person's from. Depends on all these other factors. So I could generally answer that question, but it takes like 10 or 12 minutes each case specifically for me to give a proper answer and to explain how things work and all that kind of stuff. And so I did that many times over these lives. But after a while, everyone doesn't want to hear the same explanation over and over again. I like to keep it fresh. So that's what we have to do with that. Thank you all for joining. All the new people are joining. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the TikTok page and go on my other social media. The link tree on the TikTok page has that: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. A lot of good information there. I might ask, my son was born in the United States. Next year, he is going to be 21. I have an I-130 in DACA. Can he petition for me? So he can file I-130 once he's 21, but you're saying I have I-130, so I'm not sure if you filed it already or not. But DACA itself will not solve the problem. You have to show you enter lawfully for him to be able to start the process for you. If not, you have to do what's called a waiver, but you cannot get a waiver approved based on having a U.S. citizen child. For a waiver, you have to have a spouse that's a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or a parent that's a U.S. citizen or green card holder. So in your case, the son can't help unless you enter the U.S. lawfully. You have parole, or you had admission, or maybe you have TPS and you're in California. There's or you have 245I, another family member filed an I-130 for you in the 90s. We have to see if one of these exceptions apply to you. That's why I should have a consultation with you and your son. We do by video to really analyze everything to see what's possible. I had a case like this approved recently, and the guy had for 10 years got to 5 or 6 different lawyers. Each of them get bad advice, so he just wouldn't move on his case. He eventually called me. We fixed his case in like 4 months. It was unbelievable. It made me cry because this person was like living horribly for 10 years. He could have been a citizen already. It was he left a review on Yelp to me. He breaks down his story. It's horrible. When people get bad advice like that. It's so sad. Okay, so phase last, I applied for my I-751. That's removal of conditions. People who have been married and got their green card through marriage. On November 27, 2017, still not heard from USCIS. Yeah, that's a long time. There's some issues with your case. You should consult a lawyer in private, try to do some following up. There's something going on if it's taking that long. Either they lost it or they don't believe you. Either way, it's not good. Amrit asks, I got my work permit through a spouse petition and I didn't get my Social Security. Kindly guide me. Yeah, the Social Security is kind of sucking right now. First of all, when you applied for a green card based on marriage, you applied Form I-765 for your work permit. There's a question there that asks, do you want a Social Security number sent to you? You should have properly filled that out. If you did, you have to wait for the Social Security office to send you the Social Security number. They're messing up right now. Alternatively, I would say go in person, call them on the phone, and then go in person. But because of coronavirus, things are kind of messed up, so it's not clear what's going to happen. They may ask you to actually mail them the work permit so they have proof, but if you mail it to them, they could lose it, so it's kind of scary. So I would say call the Social Security office, then if you can't, go in person and see if someone can help you and give you the number, because without the Social Security number, even if you have a work permit, a lot of people are going to be afraid of hiring you, and they can't really go through the hiring process without a Social Security number. So it's a messed up situation. I'm sorry to hear that's happening a lot. A lot of people, I have clients who are getting their green cards but not getting a Social Security number, and so they contact the Social Security office and they say, oh, mail us your green card. And I'm like, don't mail them the green card, they're going to lose it. The post office is going to lose it. If you lose your green card, it's going to cost you a bunch of money, another 8 months of waiting to get a new one. Definitely don't do that. But they want their Social Security number. It's very hard. So hopefully the offices open up, you go and talk in person and can figure it out. But it's a bad situation to be in. I'm sorry to hear that. It sucks. Okay, so we're going to get one last question. Any relief for 204C? 204C, I need 244C. What was that? Is that some sort of fraud statute or something like that? I'm not sure. I have to look up what 204C is. Okay, Faisal. Okay, you asked that. Okay, this will be the last question, Dustin. One of my form is expiring by the end of this month. Can I still use that? I don't want to print a new one. Don't be cheap. Just print a new form. I don't know what to tell you. If it expires, by the time they get to them, they're going to reject the case. So just print a new one. It is what it is. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. A lot of good questions. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone on Facebook. Scott, Asal, thank you for joining. And the video of this will be on YouTube if you want to catch it in the next day or two. There'll be clips of a lot of stuff there. Instagram, a lot of clips there. Just some good information to keep you going. Follow on Instagram, follow on Facebook, TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, all that kind of stuff. Again, thank you so much. I enjoyed doing this. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time, to talk with you guys from 5 to 5:30 to take your questions. Tell your friends to join on TikTok to ask some more questions. The more livelier the group is, the more I'm going to be continuing doing this, thing right here. All right, everyone. God bless. Be safe. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.